Today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious cold soba noodle dish topped with tangy kimchi relish, served with this cold broth. And this cold broth is so good that you could literally put your face in it. I'm serious. It's so easy to make. I'm going to show you how to make this in less than like 15 seconds. 오늘의 레시피 아주 간단하고 시원한 냉메밀국수 만들기. 오늘도 여러분들과 영어로 함께 하겠습니다. This cold broth is like air conditioning for my soul and for my belly. Oh, I feel so cool right now. Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. 안녕하세요, Modern Pepper의 헬렌입니다. To make our easy peasy broth, we're gonna start with half a tablespoon of all-purpose soy sauce. Then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of brown rice vinegar, but you could use any white distilled vinegar too, or apple vinegar. And then we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt and 1/4 teaspoon of 소고기 다시다. That's beef bouillon powder. Vegan friends, you could use yandu instead. And we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of hot water. And then we're just gonna mix it so that our salt and beef da시다 melts and dissolves with the rest of our ingredients. And in a mixing bowl, we're gonna pour our dissolved liquid like so. And here I have 2 cups of cold water and we're just gonna pour it in our bowl. And then I'm just gonna add the rest in here to wash in the rest of our liquid like that. And it's done. Easy peasy, quick, simple broth to have with our noodles. Now let's have a quick taste test. You know, always taste what you make, right? That's one of the most important things in cooking, I think. It's yummy. So right now, this broth shouldn't taste salty. It should just taste somewhat like slightly bland so that like you want to add a little more of salt because we're going to add our kimchi relish to it and that's going to actually make the broth saltier as you eat it. So keep that in mind. And then we're going to put plastic wrap on our bowl like so and put our bowl in the freezer and let it hang out while we get the rest of the ingredients ready. To make our kimchi relish, I have 1 cup of fermented kimchi. And we're just gonna use kitchen shears to chop up our kimchi. So when you make this, you have to use kimchi that's a little bit extra fermented and tangy in taste. That's what makes this kimchi relish topping so delicious with cold noodles. And once you're done chopping everything, I want you to push the kimchi to one side and kind of push down our kimchi juice to one end like so. And to this, we're gonna add half a tablespoon of brown sugar and we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 참기름. So this is gonna add such nice flavoring to our noodle dish. And we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of sesame sea salt, that's 깨소금. And we have 1 scallion finely minced. And then we're just gonna mix everything up on the side first where all the ingredients are. And then mix in the rest of the chopped kimchi. So I want you to mix this for about good like 30 seconds just to make sure all the ingredients are kind of absorbed into our kimchi. Oh, it smells so good already. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so let's have a taste test of our kimchi relish. I love this, it's so good. Everything that we love about kimchi plus the buttery taste from the sesame oil, oh my god, it's taking over my mouth. And then the sesame seeds and just a tiny taste of sugar taste that's tucked in. Oh, so good. So for our topping, we're also gonna add some cucumber and I'm using Kirby cucumber. Cut the ends off, cut a big chunk off on the side like that, put that to the side and cut some slices. I like to add a lot of cucumber to my noodles and if you don't, just cut less. So I'm gonna cut about half of a cucumber and we're just gonna cut them into thin strips. And then we're gonna pick it all up, put it on our plate. And guess what? Soba noodles is Japanese. In Korean, it's called MaeMil-guksu. So now you know. in a medium-sized pot filled with water about 2/3 and bring it to boil. And to this, we're gonna add half a tablespoon of sea salt to our pot of boiling water. And then we're gonna drop in our Memil-guksu in the pot. I want you to stir it a little bit like so. Your heat remains at high and we're gonna cook this for about 3 minutes. And at this point, it is very, very important to stand over your stove and make sure that the foam doesn't run over the pot. So I highly recommend using a pot that's big enough so that it doesn't spill over and create a mess for you on your stove. Always cook your noodles last. Get all your sides, toppings, broth all ready to go, and you'll cook your noodles right when you're ready to eat. If you let it sit around for 10 minutes or longer, I guarantee you the taste of the noodles will be totally different. It'll be soggy, not so good. Tip number 2, always use a pot that's big enough for your noodles to drop in fully and start cooking right away, as opposed to a smaller pot where, you know, it's at a slanted angle and the bottom half is cooking and the second half has to wait for the bottom half to cook so that then it could be submerged into water. Don't do that. So it's been about 3 minutes on high heat, and notice how, because the pot is big enough, the water foam is not spilling over. So I'm gonna turn down the heat for a little bit, and I'm just gonna quickly check on the noodles. All right, so I'm gonna grab maybe 1 or 2 noodles like so. Put it in a little bowl with some cold water and cool it down and have a taste. So your noodles at this point should taste chewy, not soft, not soggy. That's just the way you want to cook it. So we're cooking this at 3 minutes on a high heat, but depending on the power of your stove, it might take less or longer. So always test your noodles. So quickly, we're gonna pour our noodles into a strainer and put some cold water on it. And we need to quickly bring down the temperature of our noodles so it stops cooking. It's still very hot to touch. And this rinsing process also removes the excess starch from the noodles, which makes the noodles taste really yummy. We're gonna rinse it one more time. And once it feels really cold to touch in your hands, it's ready. Back in our strainer, and we're just gonna toss it in our strainer like this, about good 10 times. And then we're gonna let it hang out on our strainer for a few seconds. So we're gonna plate our noodles. We're gonna put it in the center and just kind of twist it to make a little mountain. And then we're gonna add our cucumbers. I like to add a lot because it just really makes the broth taste so good. And then I'm gonna add our kimchi relish right on top like that. I'm gonna pour the kimchi juice on top. The leftovers, extras, I put on a plate. And then I have some toasted seaweed that I'm just tearing up, and I'm just gonna add it on top like that. If it falls off, it's fine. And then I'm gonna add a generous pinch of sesame sea salt, 깨소금, on top like that. And we're gonna grab our extra cold broth. Pour our cold broth like so on the side. Do you hear the sound of deliciousness? Look at that, all of it. Now it's time for noodle destruction. So what you need to do is just push the topping to the side like that. And what I like to do is just give myself one cut like that in the middle. And then we go in with our chopsticks and we just mix everything like that. Oh, you know this is gonna be so good. So our kimchi relish is now flavoring our cold broth. Look at that. This in your mouth, OMG. And then this broth with everything mixed in together is so good. This is gonna be so good. Bon appetit, everyone. Summer months are so hot, but this is making me feel so cool. Not on the outside, but inside, I mean. And then when it comes to the noodle broth, you never go in with a spoon. So you can if you want to, since there's no noodle police out there. It's like having pizza with a fork and a knife, totally unnecessary. So the way to have your noodle broth is you pick up the bowl and you go, That is a technique called drink slurping your noodles. You have to eat it like that. Oh, this is so good. Now, if you want to make your cold broth a little bit spicy, you could add some hot mustard, but I like it the way it tastes right now. This cold broth is like air conditioning for my soul and for my belly. Oh. I feel so cool right now. And you know, the extra kimchi relish that we made, like I usually add more to it. I love kimchi, who doesn't? And I like a lot of it together. I feel bad that I can't share this with you, literally. When it comes to eating noodles in Korean culture, it is absolutely okay to slurp your noodles. Just don't be obnoxious about it. But slurping your noodles in Korean culture is totally normal and acceptable. Now, what we made today is your casual version of cold noodles that we have during the summer months. But the ultimate cold noodle dish during summer months that we eat religiously is called 냉면. And it's using buckwheat, flour, and other starches to make this like extra chewy noodles in this delicious cold broth. So I have a recipe for that, 물냉면, if you want to check it out. And for my spicy food lovers, you could also check out 회냉면, which is spicy sauce that we dress over the cold noodles. And then you could also add fish fillet, ceviche kind of like topping on it. Oh. You sweat and you cool down. It's so good. So make sure to go to youtube.com/madamepepper, click on that playlist tab and go to Korean noodle dishes recipe playlist, and all my noodle dishes are there for you to check out. So I will see you there soon. I want to thank everyone for watching today, and if you enjoyed watching today's video, I want to kindly ask you to click on that thumbs up icon. Doing so supports my channel tremendously, so I want to thank you in advance, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because next week I'm going to show you how to make this delicious avocado spicy tuna tower. It is so easy and it's so good using gochujang dressing that I'm going to show you. 여러분, 오늘 재밌게 보셨으면 꼭 좋아하는 버튼과 구독 버튼도 눌러주세요. 감사합니다. Alright folks, I will see you in one of the videos you see right here. 다음 비디오에서 꼭 뵙겠습니다. Served with this cold noodles. Okay, so here's soba noodles. And when you're just